Beat me to it. Hi, Deb. How are you? Hi, Beth. Hi, Jane. Kim.
Oh,
Hey.
everywhere. Say hi.
What's the kitty's name again?
This one is one of my fosters. This is Ruby.
Hi, Ruby. Hi, Ruby. Oh, lovely.
He's a sweetheart. Got to get him adopted.
How old is he?
He's 8 or 9 months now, I think. No, wait a minute. He's older than that. He's getting closer to 11 months.
11 months? Okay.
Yeah.
Cutie.
Yeah. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. I may need to step out. I'm not sure. My horse has hives, and so we're waiting to hear from the vet. So if she calls, I might need to step out. So if
Okie dokie. No problem. Thanks for letting me know, Beth. Cassandra's back. And, Sandra's gonna look at her serum. Let me give another minute and then we will go. We will do this thing. I get to tell some fun stories on this one. So, by the way, did you get to practice sending information, or you not just listening, but you being the person who's sending something? Did you get anything? You did. Doug,
I didn't get anything back. I sent, but I didn't get anything back.
Did you notice subtle things, but do you notice that maybe they're listening or there was a change or? Yes.
I noticed a change, not so much that they were listening, but I noticed a slight change. The one I communicated with during our session last week, the one that's basically feral, she is now not running away when she sees me. And she let me come within 2 feet of her yesterday. It's the closest I've ever gotten to her, and didn't look scared.
That's lovely.
So I really think she heard me. So my other ones, if they're hearing me, they're ignoring me. I don't know, but I'm not getting any feedback.
It's a possibility. Can anybody else have some practice and see something, or just did you get to practice at all this week? No.
I didn't practice, but I will say that for a couple of days after last week, the cat that I communicated with last week, she did do some things that were very close to what I'd asked her to do. She didn't get the really important message, but she got the way to get my attention. So it was a shift.
It is a shift, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's not a smart kitty, so maybe it'll take a bit longer.
Well, and you want to think about words you use around them, because so not a smart kitty. Maybe she's just somebody who's on a different path or something like that. So I'm inviting you to use different language about her.
Okay.
Just think about that. I think
she definitely is very different, because she doesn't respond like most kitties. She's not interested in chasing little things. She doesn't play. All she wants is to just sit and be loved.
Not the worstest thing in the world.
No, she's awesome in that regard. Totally fun.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Just think about the words you use, and I really think and I'm just using you as kind of a lesson, Jane, because I've learned it in my own life. Is they do pick up on the words and the vibrations of the words, and just like children. the descriptions that we use can sometimes box them in.
Mhm.
We see this particularly with rescue animals. Those people keep telling the story, and honestly, some of them are just like, I'm over it. Let's move on. I'm going to so I'm going to give you an example. With my own family, my husband died when my kids were 8 and 10. When my son got to be, and it was a terrible tragedy. I mean, I won't even go into it, but it was sudden. It was a heart attack. And when my son became a teenager, I have always been open about losing my husband, but he didn't want to be known as the kid who lost his dad. He just wanted to be Patrick, the kid who almost gets in trouble a lot or something else. He didn't want his past to filter now. And I think that's a really good lesson for us, just to, even in this time when you're starting to ask them to change, don't let the past predict the future. Really just have an more open view of how they could change or what might happen. So I hope you don't mind my using that as a good example.
No, not at all.
Thank you.
I'm totally fine.
Thank you. Because
No, I'm not offended. Like, I actually, when I talk to her, like, every day I go up and tell her, like, how precious she is and how much I love her. Like, all day long. Every time I see him, we do it to both of our kitties. And when they're not sleeping inside in the house during the day, I actually get bummed because I can't go talk to them. Yeah. So, we actually say a lot of very loving things to those two kitties. We do joke because she's not keen, maybe, I'll just use her. She's not the sharpest knife sometimes.
Okay. All right. So anybody else have some good, or interesting experiences with connecting or communicating to our animals? Pam, go ahead.
I don't know if it's interesting, but I pulled 2 rabbits, a pair. They were very closely bonded from the local shelter. And one of them, the owner didn't spay her. So in rabbits, there's about an 80% chance of uterine cancer if you don't spay them.
Wow.
And of course, she's got uterine cancer, and I had her spayed, but it has spread. And that may have affected her skin and all that. The skin may be more easily torn now with the cancer. Okay, Alice is her mate. The one who has cancer is named Briar Rose, and Alice is her mate. Alice has been chasing Briar Rose, and I noticed on Friday that there was some fur torn out, but there was also some skin attached. So I looked at her more carefully and decided that she needed to go to the vet. Well, that was a good idea. Because she had several wounds. Alice has been chasing her for a while, but I didn't realize she was actually biting her. Yeah. So Briar Rose she was in the hospital for 5 days, and she still has another couple of weeks of wound management going on. When I brought her back, I didn't put her back in the same pen, but I talked to Alice. Alice stopped eating the night before I brought Briar Rose back, and I didn't know whether or not she was feeling sick or if she was sorry. She was feeling bad because her friend wasn't there. So I did talk to her about that and told her, that I loved her anyway, and that her friend is fine. She's going to recover. So I don't know I mean, she did within a couple of hours start eating, but some of her behavior was, it could have been gas, because they get gas periodically and they push their belly down against the floor and that sort of thing when they get gas. And she did have some of that behavior, so I thought it might be gas. So I don't know whether her change in behavior was due to me talking to her or she was just feeling better. It's hard to say.
It is hard to say. I mean, you know, you're very observant and you notice that. I'm imagining that you did make a difference. That's my sense of it. You know, there may have been some other things physically going on, but that, you know, you talking to her did help.
I did feel that she felt sorry that she did that, but I can't put them back together because I'm not sure. Well, right now I can't anyway, but I'm just not sure if it, I don't know the reason why she was doing it. I have some ideas of why she was doing it.
That's where it gets fun to ask and try to find out what's going on. And then in the meantime, you still ask for changes in behavior.
Yeah.
Practice that. This is good. This is going to be good. So, okay, thank you. Sending her some good energy. Both of those. I want them to get together and be friends again. So let me talk a little bit more about when you're sending information to your animals. I had this great conversation with my friend Pete, who's learning animal communication, and he says, "What you're telling me, Mary Beth, it's like talking to my 5-year-old." And I said, "In some ways, it is. It's not that I'm saying that every animal has the head brain of a 5-year-old. However, when we're sending pictures or when we're sending information, it really helps to break it down, keep it very as concrete as we can, and put it into small chunks of information. And so that's what's really has worked for me, is not overload them with the information. You know, keep it particularly as clear and simple as you can. And I'm going to give you some examples here. But before I give you the examples of breaking it up, I got to tell you the funny one I heard of how they seem to take us incredibly literally. And Debbie, you were telling me a story. But our friend Heather Campbell, Karen's daughter, has two dogs. She calls them the boys. And they'd hump each other all over the place in front of her. And it just was like, that is disgusting. I do not like watching you two hump. So we made a request that they stop humping in front of her. They did, but they did not stop humping in front of her husband, John, because we didn't ask them to. So we had to go back and say, you know what? All humans, as far as we can tell, at least the normal ones, do not like watching dogs hump each other. You know, and I don't know how to say this more politely, but this is dogs we're talking about. So please don't do that in front of John either. You know, is what you boys want to go play when mom and dad are, you know, that's fine, because it's all in play. And they did, but you could be very specific. You've got to be really specific. So I know, Debbie, you were telling me about Fergus, and I'd love you to share that story too.
Yeah, so last week during our session, I connected with Fergus and I asked him to please stop eating things from the garbage can, the bathroom garbage can, which he likes to shred things, and to stop eating cat poop from the cat litter. And he did. He stopped, but he then started climbing on my nightstand and pulling tissues directly from the tissue box and then shredding them. So again, I was telling Mary Beth, I guess I needed to be more specific
Yeah.
or
Yes.
more general.
Yeah, and so you just got to be aware of that, not be surprised if, they say, well, that's fine, complying, but they shouldn't say anything about this. So I'm going to tell the Heather story again. Heather picked up a puppy from her mom. Her mom has Scotties, and her mom lives in Delaware, and Heather lives in Los Angeles. It's going to get a little complicated, but it's a really good point. Heather was working in DC. So she drove the puppy Gigi back to DC. They were staying in a hotel, and the hotel wasn't puppy friendly, dog friendly, so she had to put her in a puppy daycare. Then they went to Reagan National, and she was able to find a hotel that was puppy friendly, so she could stay with her. Then she was going to fly, and she was going to stay in DC for a few days. Then they went to Chicago to do some more work, and she was in another doggy daycare. And then she finally flew to Los Angeles home. So I said, we cannot tell this poor dog this and this. So every time, just before she changed what was going to happen, okay, Gigi, Heather's going to pick you up, say goodbye to, mom and dad, Heather's, and we're going to go there. Then the next thing, now we're going to go into here, and this is going to happen. Now we're going to go here. But all this time, Heather's going to be with you. And she loves you, and she's your new mom, and you're going to have a great life because there's two funny guy dogs that you can dominate, just like, because the females rule the house in Heather's family, okay? So she says, you're going to fit right in. You can rule those boys. And so I just did it for each leg of the journey rather than just saying, in the next 2 weeks, you're going to be doing this. And she handled it really well. So you see, I think I see kind of your head spinning. You break it into a piece and you explain it to them, and then the next change and then the next change. If you have to do that. Another student I have, Lynn, She lives out in Illinois and has a place in Colorado. So when she's out in Colorado, the three dogs can run. They can literally, run. But she wants them to always be where she can see them. And she was trying to tell Chef, he's a younger guy, the Labrador, you got to stay where I can see you. And she finally heard him say, I don't understand. So I said, look, here's what I would do. Tell him to stay where he can see you. Because now, think about it. How does he know whether you can see him or not? But he knows if he can see you or not. And she says that really helped. She says, so he still doesn't always come when he's called, but she sees him looking at him, at her. So you get what I'm saying. Look at it from their point of view. What you need to share, how it's going to be, that sort of thing. And I didn't talk about it, but include your emotions as much as you can, because I think that really gets their attention. The other thing that I have noticed, which you may find, is that as you've taken this course now, even when you don't think you're communicating with them, they're going to pick stuff up even more readily. Like if I say something, or I sincerely was writing some blog or something about the fact that Mac likes to, he wants me to play while the dogs are out, because that way I can throw the balls and the dogs don't chase him. Right? So dogs are out. He comes up to me like, well, I just heard you writing about that. Let's go, and he really picked up on that. Now, in a bad way, I was working with somebody whose one cat was jumping the other cat. The young cat was jumping the old cat, probably for fun, but the old cat didn't like it. Well, my new cat, Shadow, started doing that to Mac. And I'm like, darn that cat, they're listening in to me, right? And then I had to tell Shadow, well, that's great that you're listening in, but you heard the wrong part. It wasn't the jump on the cat. It was the stop it. So life will get just a little more interesting if you start paying attention to what your thoughts are or what you're doing around them and see if they're picking things up. Okay. So I'd like to do some pretend practice with you just to give you a chance to see what it's like. So here's an example. Pretend, if you don't have dogs, pretend you got some dogs and they're like, they're a little like mine. I've been working with them. They're like most excited when people come into the door. They crowd the door, they bark. And what you'd really like is to let the person through. You like them to be happy, and be joyful, and give the person some room, and let them walk through, and then wait to be acknowledged or whatever. So what I'd like you to do is to think about, and what you have to do is you have to think about not what you have to think about what you want them to do as well as what you don't want them to do. Remember? So right now, think about in your head, I bet we've all met dogs. They're like my guys. Think about what that's like, how it feels when you walk into the house. Now, say you're the person that is their guardian, how that feels to you, what you're seeing. And now I want you to think about, how would I frame this? And I want you to what would you, for instance, what I do is I ask my dogs, you can be really good, but Stella, it'd be really nice if you back off. And so she jumps on the couch many times. She'll back off. And Tibor will kind of push his way back. Because I'm picturing them walking through and them getting some hellos. So if you would close your eyes, I want you to picture how you would feel. Say, here's what is not working for me, and how you'd feel. It's a little embarrassing if you don't have dogs that do that. It's a little embarrassing. You want to be friendly to the person, and you want to tell the dogs to move out of the way. So it's a puts you in an awkward position, right? So you're picturing this happening, you're feeling those feelings, saying, wow, I'd like that to change. And now you see the person coming in, and now you see a different scenario, and you're watching this new scenario, and you say, and then you're getting like, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy about what you're doing. I'm so delighted to be now I can introduce you, and you're going to get a lot of love. Okay, whenever you're ready, take your time. Come on back. Okay. So I talked about this in my latest blog, but we'll do this anyway. Stella's a barky dog, and that's her nature. I think that there are talkative people and there are barky dogs, So I don't want to shut her down. The collar that actually gives you an electrical shock, that's pretty cruel. My son, being my son, when we tried that one time, he did it to himself. And after he screamed, we said, hey, we don't think we're going to do that to our dogs. So, animal communication is much better. So here's what I do with her. But if you've got somebody, picture a barky dog, right? And where is it that they're barking? Let's say every time something comes by the front window, they bark like it's the zombie apocalypse. only slightly kidding because that's the kind of thing we hear sometimes out of my puppy. Feel how that would feel. Now what, I'll just have you do what my thing is. So now if I hear her do that, I think it and I feel it and I say it. I say, ow, ow, you're killing me, girl. Shh, take it down a notch. And I might go over and pet her. And I also in my head say, and I say it out loud, like two ways, like, let's save that for somebody coming to the front door. That's very useful, right? So if she does a crazy bark, okay, so let's do it. Let's say she's barking at the window, and what it is one of the neighborhood dogs being walked by. So maybe you come up with something else, a way for her to say, whoa, that really isn't working for me. Okay. Now practice telling her you really like her to save that for actually you see somebody coming to the door. It's usually the UPS or the Amazon guy dropping something off. And then you say, you hear that big loud bark. You go down and you see there's a package there, and now it's a happiness and joy and a thank you. But you're showing her this to her ahead of time, right? Say, this is what I want you to do. So could you try that too? Okay. And when you're ready, come on back. I might try one more. Now we got a couple here. Okay. So say you're going to leave them. Excuse me for a second. Fergie just needed to go out, so she'll be back. You're going to leave them behind for 7 days, and think about what's the usual thing that you do. Do you have somebody come in and take care of them so many times a day? Do you take them to a doggy daycare? Does somebody actually live in the house with them? Picture whatever it is that you would do, and then picture, now that and close your eyes and say, you would say, okay, so I'm going, and I do 7 sunrises, and I show myself going out the door, saying I'm going to be gone for 7 days. So you can picture that. And you say that, then you picture and say, and then on the 7th day, you picture yourself coming back in. Yay! Hey, love, love, love. Okay, so they got the time thing. So then you go back and say, while I'm gone, here's what's going to happen. If you know who's coming in, you picture them in your head, and you say, it'll be me. Diana's coming over. She's going to take care of you. Yeah. And you show them as much as you can about how it's going to go. Like my Diana's going to come for lunch, 3 times a day. She's going to hang out with you guys. It's all good. And then you're going to say, and I love you. And Diana loves you. I'm going to take good care of you. And then and this is really lovely because this really helps. Cats get really nervous at times. You say, you have permission to have fun. This is your vacation too. You can relax and not worry about us. You have the house to yourself, whatever you want to say, have fun with it. Just say, hey, it's I'll be back. You have good permission to be having a good time while I'm gone. To play and play and play. You don't have to be mopey or anything like that. You don't have to do that to show you love me. And I want you to eat. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, but you see where I'm going with it. Try that a little bit. Just say eat, have fun, play games, watch birds, watch other dogs, whatever. Oh, my heart's lighting up. You guys are doing really well here. Okay. When you're ready, come on back. Okay. So if somebody is in the house with you and they're, going to college or they're leaving the house, and they still love you, you can talk about that. Animals who you're fostering and they're leaving, you can tell everybody else, hey, we still love him, but he's going to his forever home. Surgery. You can tell them what's going to happen, why they're going, how it's going to be better when it's done. All kinds of things. With the one with the cats and eating, a client whose cats, she just dreaded going because the cats stopped eating pretty much. They actually lost weight. And so we connected to them and, I gave them permission to have fun, told them she was expecting them to eat, not to be sad, not to be worried. And her sitter has said that this was probably the first time ever that you see the cats enjoy and relax. So, you can really do this. It's almost like you give them permission not to be upset that they don't want to be. I had one woman who was worried about this a couple years ago, whether her dog was okay with her husband and her going to Paris. It's a funny question, right? You want to get your dog's permission to go to Paris, but this was the question. So they were going to go for 2 weeks. And when I checked in with the dog, I got the funniest vision. I saw mom and dad, so to speak, in 50s clothes. So she's got the little hat on and the coat and, the overcoat, and they're carrying their luggage. And the dog is like a human. The dog is pushing them out the door. Like, I can't wait. Well, it turns out one of her favorite sitters comes over, brings a dog who's a best friend. So this dog is like on vacation with her best friend doggy and a lady that she loves. And it's like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be. I don't want to go to Paris. Go. So it's anything. It's kind of fun. You may pick things up like that. All right, that was a lot of practice. Questions, thoughts, anything come to you? Any maybe insights, Deb?
I have 7 cats, and I've always got fosters too. Can I have a group chat with them to tell them about this vacation? And how do I do that? Do I just picture them all sitting around me?
You do. You picture like you're having a Brady Bunch moment, with everybody, sitting around, and you just have the intention that they're all getting it because you're talking to all of them, and that they have permission to have a good time without destroying the joint. No, I don't want to see any walls punched in when I come home, none of that stuff.
And how do I make sure, like if I'm talking to one cat, you said how your cats picked up on you writing your blog. Was that because you were thinking of them that they heard you?
No.
So how do I make sure that if I'm fussing at one for something, or not fussing, but asking them to change a behavior, that the other cat, one of the other cats are sitting there going, what is she talking about? I don't ever do that. Yeah.
And you can say, look, I mean, if you get a sense of that, you say, this is just for Shadow. Shadow, I'm just talking to Shadow right now. You know, you guys can feel. Yeah. So now, when I was writing the blog, I think you did picture it because I was thinking of them. But the time I was writing the story, or I had the issue with my client, one cat jumping the other, I was not thinking of Shadow at all. And she started doing that stuff. Like, what the heck? So, other things, other thoughts or questions, insights?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So are sometimes the animals just not really talkative? Because sometimes I take them, you know, to the little space in the globe and they just kind of hang out. They don't really talk much.
I think that's true, Beth. I think, especially when we're living together, I think probably life is pretty good usually. So there's not too much that you don't already know, but it's that they're not sharing with you. But
Okay, yeah, because like I'll ask them, well, how was your day? And I kind of hope for more than it was good. You know, they just
I was like a seventh grader, right?
right, yeah, yeah.
So you know, one of the questions that you could ask was, what was the best part of your day? You know, what did you enjoy doing? You know, what was the best part of your day? What did you enjoy doing? You know, did somebody get into trouble? You want to tell me?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I don't know. You be a little bit creative.
Okay, you have to be more creative with the questions, a little more pointed. The open-ended ones aren't the best always.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah. How's it going with, you know, I would ask Shadow, you know, how's it going with Shadow, Bunny, you know, think you can be a little nicer today, you know, and what's going on there? And oh, Jane, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say what I always do when my cats come in or go out, or I come home from work or something, is to say, hey, you know, what'd you do at school today? I treat them like a child, where a young child was like, well, I haven't seen you all day. Did you just you know, what friends did you go play with? You know, they're not going to, before this class, they never answered or in a way that I heard them, but I would still ask them the same kind of inquisitive questions.
And you may start to pick things up, you know, and it might be very fleeting, but you might get a sense of, you know, that there was some interesting cat walked by and we were all looking at it, or, you know, somebody was trying to you know, splish all this water out of the, you know, whatever it is, you know.
I do have a question this morning. We have a bunch of raccoons that live in the tree between our yard and our neighbors. And I love the family of raccoons. Would I talk to them, I presume, the same way I would do this with my cats?
Yes, I do a whole thing on this in the nurture about connecting with wild animals, but the short version is, yes, you can. The issue that I see is that it's they're not. You know, here's my analogy: they're paying about as much attention to you as you're paying to them on a daily basis. It's like, you know, we're not the part of their life really, other than do we leave food out, or so they're not tuned into us.
Okay.
They're not hanging out waiting to find out what that human wants to share. Like they got their family lives going on. So the communication is the same, but the getting the attention is it sometimes takes a little more work.
Okay, so if I'm out in the back and I actually see them watching me through the fence, that would be a perfect time to try to connect with them.
Yeah, it would be. And you need to Yeah.
Okay, and or because they interact with my cats a lot more, and that's why I actually want to have a chat with them. So, okay, if I just
Yes, I
come out,
definitely. And uh, I started. I think of myself as neighbors. Like saying
Mhm.
hello to neighbors. I start out with mostly. I don't see many raccoons, but I see a lot of birds. So I start saying hello to birds just like I would be.
Mhm.
Hey, how are you? That sort of start thing,
Mhm.
and then get on to anything else you'd like to share with them.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's a good question.
I visualize you doing that, Mary Beth, and then the bird going, "You talking to me?"
I had that happen. I was walking the dogs, and the squirrels really hate that. And they're like, oh, and they run in. The squirrel really jumped right into the tree, and I said that was a great flying leap. And they always go on the other side so you can't see him. And he came and he peered back at me like, "What did you just say?" It was so cute, just one little eye. I said, "Yeah." I said, "That was a really great leap you did." Um, so, look for that. Sometimes people are talking about getting closer, looking, moving in, some kind of an interaction that you're not expecting. You've probably connected with them. Great questions and comments. Okay, so anything else?
I'm
What do you do? Okay, go ahead.
I'm noticing that Fergus, this week in particular, has just been on a holy tear of destruction and misbehaving, and I'm sure that he's getting my level of stress and he's feeding off of it. But oh my gosh, I'm like, I looked at him fine. I put him in his crate after I took him out, and I'm like, it's like off the chain. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I'm calm enough to connect with him and find out.
Okay. That's interesting because one of the things that I've learned is emotional freedom technique, tapping, and you do it for and on the animals, but a lot of times you have to do it for the people first so that you kind of clear out their emotions. I don't know if everybody knows what tapping is, but it's one of the good ways of releasing the emotions that are getting in the way of just more peace and quiet and changing behaviors. And you can do it with animals, but you could be right. You probably have to. You might have to do something for yourself before you check in with him.
I can do something.
Whatever your version of it is.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mary Beth,
Yeah.
I have another question then about that. So the kind of healing work I do, I can use energy, essential oils to remotely clear a chakra for a person. And I'm wondering here if I could do that on an animal without causing a problem, because some oils are toxic for animals. But if I'm doing it remotely, have you had any experience with that?
No, that is a fascinating thing. My thought would be, because I do use essential oils as well, and there are ones that are really you have to be super careful with cats particularly. But in that case, you are really using the spiritual essence of the plant, right? There's no physical connection between the oil and the animal. Is that right? Or
You're right. However, I would essentially, I could put the oil on my hands or on one of my tools and intend it to clear the chakra, person or animal, doesn't matter what the being is. And I just want to know that even if I intend it to be applied, that because it's an etheric connection, it would not harm the animal.
Well, what you might try is something just a little tiny a touch, whatever the equivalent would be, a diluted, just like we would with the essential oils themselves, like a diluted essence. I mean, I've met people who've done Reiki on their animals hate it. And I said, well, it's like you just, animals are so sensitive. It's like you just did a thunderstorm, a tornado of energy. It's gotta be a soft, gentle mist.
Okay.
Just the intention changed it. I hope this is okay for everybody else. This is a little off topic, but I hope this is okay. It's really interesting. So maybe your intention would make the difference in this.
Okay.
That it be a very diluted form of the essence, and see, they would love to hear if there's a change.
Okay. I only brought it up, and I apologize, it's a slight diversion, because I thought for Fergus, it might help. You could use a rose oil, I don't know.
Yeah, and one of the things that essential oils that I've used for Tibor is grounding, and vetiver is a very good grounding, and it's okay with dogs. I usually do it on my hands and just let them sniff it or let them sniff the bottle, or diffuse it. That's not a pleasant smell, though. It's not my favorite, but it's a good grounding, and that might help.
Okay, I'll try it because I have vetiver. I've
So,
been using lavender.
rose. I don't have any good rose. That's what I was thinking what I had.
Well, lavender will calm him down, sure. But anyhow, I was talking to somebody about it this morning, so it was on my mind.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I didn't even know that was a possibility. But okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'd like to give you another chance to practice here with me. So I would like you to think about something you would like to communicate and who you want to communicate it with. And if you want to do everybody in the household, that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, that'd be great stuff. And then really set yourself up right now. Think of the visuals you need for what is going on now and what you'd like it to be. And then think about the emotions as well, the emotions that you're experiencing now. And you can be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell me. I've felt them all. And then if the behavior changed to what you're asking, those kinds of emotions that you would have. And then here's the final piece. Think about it's the what's in it for me stuff. Like not just the emotions, but is there something that will change in their life for the better? Sometimes dogs who are easier to walk on a leash will get more walks outside, longer walks. Is there any, that's the thing I'm talking about. Do you get more freedom? Do you get more treats? Do you get to hang out? Do you get to hang out with your favorite bunny in the whole world? What are the good things that happen? So I will take you through the meditation. I'm going to do the long version just for your practice. If anytime that you feel like you have got it now, you don't need to do the long version. You may take it quicker. This is just to give you the tools, okay? So everybody get comfy, turn videos off if you like it. If it makes you feel better, I will go ahead and mute you all. Alrighty. Okay. So I just take a couple breaths. And I'd actually like you to think about this being a lovely, fun practice session. Like, we're not getting graded. We are not good or bad people if it works or it doesn't work. Our animals aren't good or bad if it doesn't work. We just want to try it out. We want to have some fun with this. And the only way to get good at it is to practice. So that's where we're at, okay? Okay, as you breathe deeply, but not uncomfortably. Why don't you grab your lockers and open it up? And I notice there's a lot of hooks and shelves, a lot of little pouches and things that you can put these things in. If there's another way that you have of clearing things, I'm fine with that. I'm just teaching you what I do. So let's do emotions first. Now we went over quite a few emotions. But right now, what I'd like you to do is to look for any emotions that are in your body. And I'd like you to go ahead and release them into the locker. You can tell the locker if they're not really that useful, the locker can actually just let them dissipate. But if you need them back, we'll get them. So just release and relax all those emotions from the earlier in the day, maybe about something that's going to happen soon, frustrating things during the week, worry, tension, all that stuff. Put it in the locker. Feel what it feels like to be emotionally quiet. All right, so now what I'd like you to do is to find those thoughts that are flitting around. To-do lists, whatever it is, Thoughts about how you're going to say what you're going to say when you get there. Thoughts about things that happen during the day, judgments probably fit in there. Just put them in your locker. Feel what it feels like to have a brain that's just neutral, quiet mode. And just in case we may feel something from our animals that's important, I want you to go through your body. I want you to go through and see if there's anything that stands out, that pings, that feels off, and I want you to put that into your locker. Start from your feet and go right up the legs. There we go. That one. Into the torso. Get your arms down to your fingers, all the way up to your head. Thank you. All right, so we are in a neutral, quiet, lovely space. Let's start our journey. And right now, let's ask our animals to just join us somewhere along the way, wherever they're comfortable with joining us. As we breathe in with that imaginative thought of being a tree as well as a person. We're connecting already. Good for you guys. And as we breathe in the air as people, we feel that that's like energy being brought into our bodies. We picture that there is also energy coming in through the leaves of the tree. And that's coming into our body, down our torso, down the trunk, down into our hips. We see that energy going down to our tailbone and down our legs, which feel like our roots now, all the way down to our feet. We take those roots and we start to grow those roots. And we push those roots through our house, our building, into the ground. We push through the ground into the rocks. All the way through the earth to the middle of the earth. And there's the middle of the earth. And we get in there and we see what we see. I look for the well, you're looking for a water source. I want you to just dip your roots into that water source. Oh, you're doing really well, guys. I'm so appreciative of your desire and intention, because it's working very well. Dip that in and get some of that good grounding energy from Mother Earth. All right, so now let's bring our roots out of the well or out of the water and start retracting them back up through the earth, all the way up into actually it's back to our feet again. We notice that there's just a little difference in our feet than it was when we started. We're going to bring that different energy up our legs, those roots, and into our torso, into the trunk of the tree. We go up the torso. We're going to go down our arms to our fingers because it feels good, and those are the branches. Take it up the back, up the trunk, the bark, up to our neck. It feels like we're getting into the branches now in the tree part and up into our head. We stop for a second. We feel what it feels like to notice our scalp. And sometimes it's like a little ping, a little sharp ping about the size of a fingertip touching. Sometimes it's a larger area for me. It feels like it's waking up or something, pins and needles. Somebody's lightly touching our hair. It doesn't matter where it is. Oh, there we go. We got some another spot too. You guys are doing great. A couple breaths and relax. Know you're doing well, and push up through the top of your head. Now we know our animals are with us, and we join hands. And we take our journey away from Earth, through our solar system, into the Milky Way galaxy, enjoying the view all through the other galaxies to the end of the universe. Yeah, that's lovely. And then we picture, maybe there's a little button. I see a little golden ball of energy rotating like a little sun. Touch that and see that it opens a window. The window appears, or a door appears, or a portal, something. And you just know you need to go through it. And there you are, and there your animal is, or your animals are. I'll give you about 5 minutes to practice sending information. If you feel that it's the right thing to do, you could also ask how they're feeling really quickly. And just say, thank you for sharing. I get it. You know, that's really important to know. Thank you. And then say, here's what I've got to share with you. Start with a little bit of love. You know, remind them how much you love them. And then explain what you'd like them to change. Okay, everybody. Thank your animals for listening to you. Send them lots of love. They know how much you love them. And I'm going to just intentionally bring you back and ground you into your body as you come back home. When you're ready, please just turn your video on and or unmute yourself. Okay. All righty. Okay. So, from my perspective, that was very powerful. I set the intention through this whole time that I'm going to amplify and help you, but it's still you doing it, right? I'm just setting the, turning, a little bit of warmth to get this going, but it's you all that are doing it. I think it felt really good to me. And if you ever have to listen to recording, I should have said this at the beginning, but my intention is always that the recording has as much energy in it as the original. And you are getting all that energy I put into it. It is there in the recording. So just wanted you to know. Okay. Anybody want to share how it went? I'm always curious. It's not a requirement. Just raise a hand. Then we can take turns. Jane.
Okay, because my kitty didn't fully comprehend what I'd asked her to do last week, I went back in because I clearly didn't make a very good message to her last week. So I reiterated the fact that I liked how she tried to notify me when she needed something and didn't just sit there at all hours and whine. And what I had asked her to do is, if she needs my attention, to just come and sort of tap me or nudge me. And what she's been doing the last few weeks or last few days, which she did a lot as a little kid, is she has been climbing on top of me in the mornings before I wake up to get her to get up and feed her. And she will just literally, she's a heavy kitty, just weight herself on my chest, and she'll purr and purr and purr. But I'm like, okay, I'm fine with her purring. At least she's not crying. So I said, that's fine. I told her she only needs to meow twice and then give me 10 or 15 minutes. If I don't respond, then she can do it another one time. So I'm hoping that will work, because I set in that communication the feeling and the vibration of that, so she would receive it more clearly. So I'm hoping it works.
Oh, and good. Perfect. And that's a great, Jane, that's a great thing to just keep practicing. If you're thinking like, what should I practice? Just do that. So you got something to practice on. Good, thank you for sharing. I'm so glad. Anybody else want to share? Debbie.
Yes, so I took Ferg with me to the ends of the universe, and I kept getting this feeling like I just took him out, and I took him out just before we went for our call, and I'm getting this feeling like he has to go to the bathroom again. So there's sort of this sense that there's a lot of that going on, and I'm not sure. I probably want to take him to the vet. I just got this sense of this urgency. But we connected, and I talked to him about tomorrow, that I'm actually going to be gone for the day and what's going to happen to him. And I pictured my friend. He's going to go have a play date for the whole day, and they've got a dog, and he'll just be so happy because they'll play together, and her two children are home on spring break, and they're going to be there to play with him. And he got really excited. And then I asked him, why we've been having such difficulty this week. And he said he's bored. He said, I'm bored. And so I said, well, I can take breaks and we can play with each other, and then I'll investigate some other things that we can do to help keep you occupied in a good way.
Well, I'm so glad you got an answer. And it's a useful one, right? It's
Yeah,
so lovely. Thank you.
thank you.
Right. Anybody else? Okay. All righty. So please practice. I have a request. My mentor has asked me to teach a class next week. And she's on the West Coast, so it starts at 5 p.m. her time, which is 8 p.m. our time. What I'm wondering is, would you be able to start like at 6:45 next Wednesday? If that would be so nice. It would just give me, because I love the fact that we don't have to really disappear on each other right at 8. If you could do that, I'll send it out. I'll set the time and send a reminder out. But that would really help me out if you could do that.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I am setting up the nurture. I mean, this won't work for everybody, but if you like what we're doing, let me just do a little tiny business here. Nurture it's 8 sessions. It's Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. I think it's starting May 7th, Tuesday, May 7th. And it's $197, and you can do 2 payments. So I apologize for the business stuff, but I wanted to send this to you, and I'll send you an email with the topics again and what we do. And it's again, it's all recorded, and we have a lot of fun. We just take this and go all kinds of places: reincarnation, animal totems, helping our animals transition. We go deeper into that, talking to wild animals in sanctuaries. So thank you all for this. This is a wonderful time for me, and I'm hoping it was for you all. Email me if something really interesting comes through. I was going to say strange, true, or see you in the Facebook group. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, that's right. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Cheers.